Mark.
And welcome to Down the Rabbit Hole, a podcast brought to you by Justis.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Aidan.
I'm Cody.
And I'm Elijah.
And, well, today we are talking about our inevitable future.
Yeah, just like the increasing codependence of like humans on technology and technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know.
I think that there's some benefits and some downsides, but I mean it's gonna happen no matter what anyone wants, just like due to the nature of humans. I feel like.
Yeah. We tend to try to make life easier.
Yeah, exactly. Why work hard when you can work smart?
Yeah, but that doesn't always have the best outcome.
Yeah.
So, we should take this back a little bit. Let's talk first about the first couple things that people were nervous about being the first couple of jobs that people were nervous about being taken away by something automated.
Well, I don't know if there's any reports of people like being upset about this happening, but in 1787, they invented alarm clocks in America, and before that, people would go around town knocking on people's windows to wake them up early in the morning.
I think the only people upset in that scenario would be
they're called knocker-uppers.
The knocker.
Yeah, knocker-uppers.
Knocker-uppers. Just the knocker-uppers. Everyone else, we got alarm clocks out of it. Yeah. So yeah, that's not bad at all.
And I just gotta say, that is the most unfortunate job title ever.
Yeah.
Man. Imagine
that though. That'd be so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up to someone knocking on your window. I think definitely alarm clocks were a good one.
Yeah. But I wonder if when it first started switching over to people using alarm clocks, if people still did the knocker-upper too because they didn't trust technology or something.
Wow.
So there's probably it probably took time to transition to everyone using alarm clocks, I feel like.
Wow, you're right. What was the other one? The printing press, you said.
The printing press, yeah. Because before the printing press, a lot of people, how they would produce books is you'd have to handwrite them out. Each individual book.
Right.
Page by page by page by page. Mm-hmm. And a lot of monks would do that for the Bible. So that's why there's a lot of copies of the Bible out there that are handwritten
handwritten. That. I bet you they're still worth a lot though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if they're in good condition, because that's the thing. If they're in good condition.
I wonder if that's still a practice that anyone does, just
probably
copying down the Bible word for word.
Because I feel like with any automation, it's just going to open up a separate market specifically for handmade stuff.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I feel like it's never going to go away. There's always going to be a market for something. It even turns into a marketing point.
Yeah, you're right. So do you think that's where we're headed on one side of it?
I think so, because another thing getting more into the present day is they're automating farming a lot.
Farming.
Yeah.
So what's going to be affected by it?
Well, basically one of the things that they do is driverless tractors. So it's almost like a drone. It's someone remotely piloting a tractor and farm equipment and stuff like that.
Okay, so drone tractors.
Drone tractors. Yeah.
That's interesting. Honestly, I don't know enough about farming to know if that's a good or bad thing, but it sounds cool.
Tractors can be dangerous sometimes, so I mean, if it might not be a bad thing. But
I don't know how many people rely on that job, but
another thing is they're using a lot less surveyors now because they can just use satellite imagery to survey land and stuff.
Right. That's interesting. So, what jobs do you think are going to be taken away that aren't taken away yet? You know what I mean? What jobs do you think are going to disappear in the future because of automation?
Well, one thing is taxi drivers maybe. If they get
Uber, bro.
Self-driving cars.
Oh, you're right.
But also going into social media, changing things like that. It's that's one example of even just the online stuff in general, allowing people to connect more easily. That's also an effect, affects stuff in the same way.
I'm sorry, back to our other point with there's a lot of truck drivers in the U.S., isn't there?
There is. It's a huge, massive industry.
And so that could all be replaced by self-driving trucks?
Possibly. That's something that like Amazon is working on, and like Elon Musk is working on.
See, that's one I
That's
don't know if
crazy.
that's a good thing. I don't know.
It might mean a decrease in accidents, but like the biggest issue with self-driving cars is the people who aren't in a self-driving car.
I see that it would decrease in accidents, but I'm just bringing up the whole job thing.
Yeah, the
Like,
job
there's
thing.
so many people. I feel like that's just a really big job.
But what if they just went the route of having like a cockpit type scenario, like the drone thing again, where it's like
It's just,
someone
like, standing by.
So it's like they can stay at home, just like, hey, install this thing in your garage,
Wow.
and like you can remotely pilot your truck.
I
So
kind of
you-
want that.
That's
job.
And so they
crazy.
can save fees for like it's just a one-time installment fee kind of thing. Like
Right.
they have to pay for the thing, and then they don't have to pay the travel fees for the guy. They don't have to pay
Yeah.
the away pay basically, like that kind of thing, because he's there at home in his garage just piloting the truck.
I haven't heard this side of it. I like that.
That could be like a really interesting way to take it, I think.
I would like to hear more sides of that in the future, though, because that seems interesting to me. Because to me, I don't know how many truck drivers there are, but it seems like that's a big job that a lot of people are doing in the U.S.
I mean, in the same way, like doctors already do that for surgeries too. Like they,
What do you mean?
it's like they basically have a controller. Like their setup, it's basically, but it's like very specific, for surgeries. But to the point where they've actually developed video games for it to help them train for specific like
Wow.
surgeries and stuff.
Do you think that surgeries could be completely done by robots in the future?
Possibly. Because I mean,
think so,
like
too.
something similar they're already doing too is they're testing like dispatchers for 911 that like have AI assistants to like help them diagnose stuff.
Wow. So, I'm sorry, I was just thinking back to that scene in Star Wars when Anakin is all burnt up and he's like getting fixed up by all the robots. Like that's what I imagine, like like you go into surgery and maybe there's like a head doctor like watching over all the machines and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just because think about it, there'd be no human error.
Yeah. I feel like at that point it would just be AI advancement is the thing for that.
AI, dude.
If we like AI would ultimately like do our jobs for us, because like it would be like a tireless worker working 24/7 without pay, just give it energy.
That's really the iceberg of this conversation.
Is AI.
Yeah, because you want to talk about automated jobs, that's going to automate thinking for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, on an extreme level. Let's talk about what kind of jobs advances in AI would take away.
I feel like I've mentioned before, like the self-driving cars would
right.
be one.
Yeah.
Basically, like, I'd have to think about that. Let me see.
Well, no, I was just going to say, like, I don't know if this is crazy, but imagine, like AIs that like created show. Like, I'm basically what I'm trying to say is, do you think the art world could be affected by AI?
Oh yeah, they're already testing things like AI's making music.
Yeah,
stuff like
see,
that.
that's what I wanted to say. is like making things like music and things that we enjoy, like entertainment, but without people having to make it, Because us being creators and, music and videos and everything, I've always thought about, well, man, ain't no robot can do what we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know, maybe.
I feel like what would be like, because no robot could do what we do, like in like the AI sense that like people think of, like, the self-aware AI that goes out of control.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, that can happen possibly. Who knows? But like what this is more about is it's like machine learning, where it's just like you give it certain data multiple times and it just determines the best outcome through algorithms.
You know what I kind of imagine AI to be? I'm going to talk about the movie Captain Marvel for a second, and don't worry, it's not a spoiler at all. But there's this form of artificial intelligence in it. I can't remember what they refer to it as, like supreme intelligence or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it's not something that's like in charge. It's something that they tap into and can communicate with like almost in their head. And it
like
takes
a hive mind kind of thing.
Yeah, and
almost.
it like takes form of like whoever they look up to most.
Oh, that's trippy.
And it's so what I'm getting at is, what if AI is more of, it's so under our control, it's something we ask questions to, it's something that we look to for guidance, but can't make any decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because it can only react to the data we give it.
Imagine that. Wisdom bot.
That'd be crazy.
Are you scared of AI or?
I mean, I don't know. Not really. Because I feel like AI advancing isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, sure, it depends on what it's used for, though.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like using AI, like, robot soldiers and stuff like that.
We're like, think about the pilots. We're already replacing some soldiers.
I think wait, is there like AI pilots?
Well, I mean
the drone pilots?
I mean drones.
I feel like that's slightly different because it's still a person controlling it. So like a person making a decision.
If there was
you know
no
what
one
I mean?
even controlling the drone, if it was a computer making decisions.
Yeah, then I feel like that
really
kind of
bad.
scares me.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. Do you see that coming, though?
Because it's like, I feel like everyone thinks AI would eliminate human error and stuff like that. But it's like, there's a person who has to program an AI. So there's still user error that can...
Learning.
If it's self-learning, that's a different story. But I don't know if they've like created like actual like software, like it can expanding its software level.
I think that would probably be the goal, right? Like, well, people that are looking at advancing AI, wouldn't that be the ultimate goal? Is to create something that could think and learn on its own?
I feel like, that would be the ultimate outcome, I feel like, of AI. But I feel like it wouldn't be a bad thing. They're just, it's almost like if they become self-aware, we almost have to, like, accept them as a new race type of deal.
Ooh, whoa, I haven't heard that perspective.
Because it's like, if they are a sentient being, then it's like, there's people who, like...
Wow.
I feel like there'd still be cases of, like, thered be slavery type stuff still in, like, remote areas if they ever... robots went there, like smuggling robots for slavery.
Do you remember the movie Tron?
Yes.
There was these. So when he created the grid, right? That's like the universe inside, like technology or the internet or whatever it is. The grid. When they created it, this new life form almost manifested on its own. And I can't even remember what they were called right now. But I almost imagine that's what you're making me imagine right now by saying AI has its own race and everything. Like, I imagine, what if we did have these robots that they could actually interact with us and be different personalities and that's like iRobot, man. Like
iRobot, yeah.
That's because that was artificial intelligence made to like be like servants to humans, right?
Yeah, they're already doing stuff like that too in restaurants. They have like busters that go around to collect dishes that are robots. There's just
Actually,
like
I'm happy you brought
rolling
this up.
around with trays.
Dude, not even just that. Just think about how many restaurants do you go into nowadays, and there's a little computer sitting on your table that you can order everything on.
Yeah.
So how long where we don't need servers anymore?
For real.
How long before robots are making the food in the back?
Yeah, that's happening in some places too.
I'm telling you.
But man. I feel like I said, I think before, like there'll still be like a market for like handmade food, human-made food. It won't go away. It'll just be like the main way of doing it. Like might turn into robots, like on a large scale. Like fast food chains might like one day turn to robots or something.
I could definitely see you go into a McDonald's and there's a screen now that you order your food on.
At a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Even if one day it's like if a new company takes over with AI and like it gets to the point like with an AI chef or something, then it gets to the point where like it's like the markets have to equalize.
It's a marketable
almost.
name, AI chef.
AI chef?
Yeah, I like it. So let's trip out on this, all right? Fast forward way into the future. Okay, so let's imagine all these jobs slowly get replaced by technology and artificial intelligence and everything. Of course, it's going to suck for a while for a lot of people losing their jobs, right? But fast forward way past that, okay? When we have adapted job-wise. And maybe at that point, we're not working to make money anymore. What if there is no money? There's no concept of that.
Mm-hmm.
What if, I'm going to get crazy here, what if humans get to a point where we just start to enlighten ourselves? Because what are we going to do when everything is being done already?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to leave us room to just think and maybe even create more.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to put ourselves on a higher level.
True.
And maybe that's when we free ourselves of all this extra, maybe that's when the human race can become more enlightened. Is that too trippy?
I mean, just something like to kind of go out into the enlightening ourselves and bridging into the automation is, think of the drones they send out like to Mars, like the rovers.
Mm-hmm.
That's AI.
I didn't know that. I thought they were controlling it.
Nah,
With the joystick.
It just goes around by itself. Like there's probably like a
makes
manual
more
mode they can
sense.
go to, but yeah, and then it transmits what it needs to do. Sometimes.
Yeah, and it probably just knows which terrain. Like, oh, that's a wall.
Yeah, it just knows to go around, and if it
God,
sees
dude.
something that it's
It
not
works like one of those
database or something.
vacuums.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Roomba
It's
on Mars.
It's a Roomba.
It's a
on
Mars Roomba.
That's awesome. It's the same technology, man.
Has its own routines, collects samples.
And I think there's like theories about doing like rocket travel, even having AI. Like maybe AI pilots would be crazy. Because imagine if it's just like if they have the appropriate like sensors or something, or like being able to map between the stars, like satellites or whatever, like long distance telescopes that they can measure the distance. It might be able to like navigate by itself the most efficient route for travel. You know what I mean? And just like have a human co-pilot on board to make sure nothing bad happens. But like it's almost like just autopilot. That would be AI.
Have you seen Interstellar?
A long time ago. I don't
There's some
remember
great
when it first
robots
came out.
you're making me think of.
Is it those like ones that like?
They're like a
That's the best way I can
rectangle-
describe
they're a
it. Sorry,
rectangle.
audio listeners.
Yeah. They're like a rectangle that like pieces of them move out.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
It's difficult to explain how they look, but they're like a form of AI, and they're like a co-pilot even.
Yeah.
And
Aren't they like the navigator or something?
I can't remember exactly what their primary purpose was, but they could do all kinds of shit, and it was cool because they could like control the levels of like humor and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I thought
so it'd be humans putting in the personality parameters.
Yeah, exactly.
And the AI would just emulate it.
Yeah, imagine
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So imagine that
That's trippy.
there's
right?
like home servant robots, and you get to like customize how it acts. If you want like a super serious like British sounding guy, maybe that's what you set it to, or maybe you just want some like chill like bro. Like helping you clean up your house. You know what I mean? Like it could
chill
be cool.
like bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A chill like bro. Or maybe you want, I don't know, like a motherly type robot to help you around your house. You know what I mean? The possibilities are endless. Imagine I don't know what, I guess the adult toy industry. Imagine that, man. Robots that...
Oh,
They
I
were
didn't
gonna
even think
help you.
about that.
They
AI.
already started it, didn't they?
Really?
Probably.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I could imagine.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
There's all kinds of fancy gadgets.
That
but
would
like
be
imagine
a
straight up...
market.
Oh, little computer noise?
That was the computer. It's cool. It's
Imagine a straight up sex robot that could like...
had a personality, basically.
Yeah.
Like an emulated personality.
Dude, people would like fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'd be like,
man.
isn't there a movie like
That's
that?
a weird...
I know there's one
situation.
where it's like... I haven't seen it, but I think it's like... You know what Tony Stark has?
Yeah.
Like, what is that called?
Well, like an AI assistant.
Kind of like an AI assistant, but just the
Jarvis,
voice.
yeah.
It's just the voice is what I'm trying to say. And I think he slowly falls in love with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that would probably happen a lot.
Yeah, it would.
That would
Especially if it had a physical body that they
Yeah.
could have sex with.
I mean,
that would be
think
crazy.
about the amount of people that just like fall in love with mannequins and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Have you seen that? Like, imagine if the mannequin had feelings.
That'd be insane.
And moved.
Yeah. Dude, that's just making me trip out again on what you said earlier about thinking of AI and robots as a completely different race or species.
Yeah.
It'd be a different species.
It would. It's like...
Because they're not human.
They're not human. They could take any shape we want them to.
Yeah. See...
Or if they get to the point of self-replicating, which would be another point where, like, yeah, we have to consider them another species. I think, like, that's one of the criteria or something. Like, the reproduction.
To be a species?
I don't know. I feel like that would be. It sounds good. That's not based on any fact whatsoever. Just to put that out there. I feel like that would be some sort of criteria.
Hey, man. I liked it. I forgot what I was about to say.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about robots in our lives, but with personalities. And like people falling in love with them and that kind of thing. And I lost my train of thought.
Imagine like AI pets too. That would be like a whole nother avenue.
Dude, they had the robot dogs and shit. Like,
yeah, I had one. Remember that?
I don't know.
It had like the little remote, but you could give it voice commands too, and the voice commands never worked for shit.
See, but what I would want out of a robot pet is like what Jimmy Neutron had.
Yes. Was his name like
that?
Goddard or something like that?
I think so. Yeah.
Goddard.
Dude, he was dope.
He was dope.
Yeah, he could do all kinds of shit. And I liked that he didn't look like a real dog.
Yeah.
Like he looked like a boxy robot.
Uh-huh.
But he like had dog mannerisms. Like
everyone just accepted like, yeah, this kid has this crazy dog.
Because if it looked like a real dog, that would be creepy.
Yeah, it's the uncanny valley. And that's a big thing. Like, you know what that is?
I don't.
It's like the closer we get to human realness that isn't quite right, the more terrifying it is.
Like that one chick. That bald girl.
Oh, the
robot girl.
The assistant girl.
That
with
everyone
the AI.
says looks like Jenna Marbles.
Yeah.
Have you heard that?
I think I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did the green screen video.
Yeah, and I think the robot, like, talks.
Uh-huh.
And, like...
makes eye movements, like facial movements.
The facial movements, yeah, it talks to you.
Yeah, it's, like, super creepy. Well, what were we saying about that? Oh, yeah. The fact that it, like... it looks so similar to us, but not quite, that it's creepy.
A funny example of it, too, is, like, teddy bears that have human teeth. Have you ever seen those pictures?
Oh, yeah.
Those are terrifying, but they're really interesting to look at.
Yeah, I feel like what was an episode of Vsauce or something? It was, like, about, like, what makes things creepy.
Yes, yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, I want to say that was, like, one of the things is, like, is giving things like that, like, humanistic qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So we want our robots to be kind of robot-y.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. Like, imagine that, dude. Like, if I'm gonna
if it's like a full body fake skin, like it has to be straight up 100% mistake it for a human. I feel like for us to be okay with it being like that close to being human.
Like,
it can't be like, you know,
the way
cheesy
Terminator
fake
looks
skin
with
thing.
his skin on.
Yeah.
Like, it had to be like that.
Yeah, I think so.
There's probably even a better example.
Otherwise, they have to be robot-y.
Yeah, it's just either go with the robot-y or get that shit perfect.
Because I feel like it's all going to be designed, like there's going to be different types of robots. Some of them would be social robots. Some of them would be like working robots. Some like all kinds of different things.
Yeah. I imagine, see, when we first started this conversation, I just was completely imagining this conversation just being about jobs slowly being taken away.
Yeah.
But now I'm fully on thinking about us just existing with all these robots.
Yeah, it's like we are codependent on technology.
Yeah.
And for some reason we're hellbent, and not a bad thing, hellbent on just advancing that technology as much as possible.
Yeah, and let's even talk about one thing that sparked this conversation was the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And besides the whole AI thing, one thing that I thought was trippy was him talking about speeding up that connection between you and your phone.
Yeah.
So meaning it would almost like there'd be an implant, right? Is that what you
Yeah, I
said?
feel like that's something. Yeah,
like
that's a
an
direction they
implant
would
into
take.
your brain to where you could make calls, like Google search,
Yeah.
like, in your head.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? Us becoming
That's
part
true.
of the AI.
That would be pretty crazy. Like
That's
I feel
crazy.
like I don't know if it ever happened, I would have to wait to see how they do it. Because I
Like
mean,
the surgery, or
just in general, because they would have to market it as a product. But before that, it would have to go through all sorts of like government type shit. The military would definitely
Yeah.
take it as well.
honestly, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if there's already something like that exists. That's in
Yeah.
that's like deep down under, secret files. That.
Because they already do like transplants for people who are deaf for like
Right.
like it goes wires into the brain type shit for their hearing.
Dude, like, honestly, I have to say, if that was a thing, no matter how cool it would be, I don't think I'd be able to sign on for it.
Yeah.
Simply on the not because I'm scared of it, that's part of it, but because how cool would it be to just be one of the last regular humans? You know what I mean? Thinking about that, while everyone else is super smart and just calculating and seeing things and just sitting there, like, in the internet space.
Yeah,
Imagine you were still there on the outside.
that would be crazy.
That would be cool. And it would be cool to, like, record your experience. You know what I mean? And see what you see from the outside. So I don't think I would ever get it done. No matter
Yeah,
how cool
I
it
feel
is.
that.
I mean, maybe I would the closest thing I would do is what if they came up with, like, implants that could make you, like, super strong. And, like, have, like, crazy cool abilities. You know what I mean?
That would be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be
having
sick.
it'd almost be like the Matrix, how they could download, like knowing kung fu and like weapons
Yeah.
training and stuff into their brain. I feel like that's what it
Well,
would be
with
like.
the whole implant thing, what if that's where it goes? Like, what if you could just learn a language by, like,
Yeah.
selecting a language?
Yeah,
in
that
your
would be
head.
insane. Like if that was a thing, that would make me like think about getting it, honestly.
Well, see, I remember when Google Glass, remember, like, the glasses for
Yes.
Google, when that was like I don't know what happened to it, but when that was like in development and they were like making little videos about it, I thought one of the cooler things about it was the whole translation thing, like that you
Yeah.
could talk to someone and I can't remember exactly if they converted it to sound
or did subtitles.
if they did subtitles, but either way, that's so cool. I think I prefer, like, the subtitles.
Me too.
That way you could, like, actually hear their
Yeah.
words in native language and just read what they're saying.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. What happened to Google Glasses, man?
I feel like it probably just wasn't cost effective to produce them mass market wise.
Because they'd be so expensive and they
Yeah.
wouldn't be for everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Watches are what everyone wants right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Apple Watch.
Yeah. Wait, are you guys thinking about getting one?
Well, I have an Android phone, so I'm not going to get the Apple Watch, but there's a lot of Android smartwatches out there I can look
Yeah.
at getting.
I don't know. I've thought about it. I love analog watches though.
Yeah.
You know, so that
Mhm.
but everyone I've told that to, they're like, you could just put it on an analog setting, and it'll look like that. What's cool is if I don't know if you've seen the newer ones, when you just look at it, it like lights up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you don't have to press a button or anything. That's pretty chill.
That would be really handy.
Yeah.
Although one thing I've heard about those is that they're really bad in movie theaters.
Oh, I
People look at
bet.
them a lot.
Wow. Yeah, see,
Should
I've
have,
already
like,
noticed
movie
that
mode.
it works.
Like airplane mode
Interesting.
on your Apple Watch or something.
I've always, like, why don't phones and shit, like, have holograms yet?
Oh.
Like, imagine you pull out your phone and, like, a little hologram comes up.
That would be like an
That's
amazing.
like, is that intense technology?
I
Do you
think
need,
so.
like, cameras, or, I mean, not, or
Lasers.
lasers in the room?
Yeah.
What if you had a hologram
Pretty sure.
room? I like how this conversation started about
Like jobs and
like,
stuff. And
yeah,
now we're
job
just talking about
replacement,
like all
and now
kinds
we're
of
just
crazy
like talking
technology
about, yeah, the
and AI.
advancements and shit.
Because I mean that's really what it comes down to with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's going to get to the point where robots are doing everything for us, and so humans just get to do what we want to do.
And I don't think this is a conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's just
really an inevitable future.
yeah, it's already there.
Yeah.
They're just it just hasn't expanded because like everything takes time. Like every new idea, like people always say like a certain year started like the Renaissance or something, but that's only in like specific things that have like gotten to that culture.
Agree. Just look at the pyramids.
Yeah. So like, what was I going with that?
I think you were going with that we're going to advance no matter what.
Yeah. It's no matter what, we're going to advance.
And you can already see that in everything that we're doing.
Yeah, it's just taking time to spread.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking time to spread around to like all the different areas, all the different industries and stuff like that.
So the fact that people won't have, there won't be much jobs for the people, would that mean there'd be more people or less people on the planet over time?
I feel like
population growth, or do you think it would go down? That's a good point. Do you think we would just spend all our time doing each other because
you know what I feel like
work?
Yeah, I feel like
growing the population.
The real answer I feel like would be colonizing like space and stuff.
Dude,
that would be like that's like our ultimate advancement of technology is going out and exploring and colonizing space. Yeah. That's like our next biggest step.
And having all this AI to get us there.
Because I mean, we have like we're getting to the basics of AI. We have atomic energy. We're even like they're trying to make like fusion reactors, which are like way better than fission reactors. Fission reactors are the ones that split molecules. Right. And so like that releases like a lot of radioactive waste and stuff like that. But fusion reactors are when you combine molecules. Usually they're combining like hydrogen and oxygen to make water type of thing.
And that's what a sun does, correct?
Yeah, and that's what a sun does on a massive level.
Right.
And that's what makes all the elements in the universe is suns.
So, back to AI then, again, because I just thought of another trippy thought. Do you think... It's difficult to put this question into words, but maybe you can just see what I mean from my sloppiness.
Go for it.
Do you think AI could get to a point where they could think outside of our universe, or will they be contained to the boundaries of our universe? Like, for example, do you think we could ask the AI, what's the meaning of the universe? Or where did the universe come from? Or how would the universe end? Or those questions will always be too great.
I think they could possibly attempt to calculate when the universe will end, but it'd only be like a theoretical hypothesis type of deal just based on data they have available.
Like, I'm just wondering if AI could get so smart to where we could literally ask this thing anything and it would know the answer, unless it's philosophical.
Because I feel like the thing with
even philosophical.
The thing with AI is it would have to get to the point where it could reproduce for this to get to like any big thing with AI like that stuff. Because like before then, like for computers, its eyes and ears are just like all the sensors that we give it. So right now we basically can selectively blind or give sight certain things to our AIs. But if it gets to the point where they can reproduce and can do things however they want, if they get to the point where like they have manufacturing jobs, and like this is if they become self-aware and can reproduce, they can take over the manufacturing jobs and like reproduce things like that. Even if they have like advancements that they can calculate based on stuff, advance their own technology, but like that would be like just a possible like crazy future.
Watch when it hits the gaming world one day. And, like, people don't even want to play live against each other anymore because it's just way more fun to play against AI.
Yeah, because that's where, like, one of the areas of the biggest AI improvement is, in some cases, is with gaming. Because they spend tons and tons of money. They have so much invested in improving AI for games.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
Like, there are definitely a lot of games where it's pretty bad. But in general, they invest a lot of money into figuring it out.
Wow. Well, dude, I think the world is going to survive the future. I think we're going to get lazy.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get pissed, that all our jobs are being taken away. But then I think we're going to hit a point where we just let go. We just let go of everything. And we're going to realize what we were really put here for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not put here, because I think we kind of just emerged here.
Yeah.
You know?
We kind of just happened... there was bound to be life in the universe, and we just happened to be that life.
The universe, I think, is looking for ways to understand itself, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we are. We are, to our knowledge, the best that the universe has created to look inward at itself.
Mm-hmm.
And what if that next step, and I know we talked about this on the podcast before, and what if that next step is us creating AI?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just another thing to help us look at ourselves. And by us, I mean the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So the AI, in a sense, will be us. It is us taking a closer look at ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Because in the end, we are all in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
We're
all existing here in some fashion.
We're all leading up to each other. Every creation is creating its
next iteration.
Exactly. And
evolving.
Man, just to get crazy again, because I love talking about this shit. Imagine, the ancient aliens, right?
Yeah.
Imagine ancient aliens come down. I'm not saying I believe this. It's just a fun thought experiment. But they come down and, like people say God created, beings that are less than him.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think God, quote unquote, was maybe aliens. And I think these aliens wouldn't create something weaker than them and less knowledgeable. I think they would create something better.
To surpass them. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were the first AI that got out of hand, and that's why they had to abandon us.
I just had a crazy thought. If you think about evolution and how if you were to create something like humans, it would be like through DNA type stuff.
Using the tools you're given.
Yeah, but it's like almost like they could engineer evolution in some forms. So it's like with how technology is, with how our current AI is, I can't speak sometimes. It's all through machine learning. So they just give it like tons of data, and then it slowly just finds solutions and processes. That's almost like human evolution over all those years. It took time to do machine learning until it got self-aware and began to change the world around it.
Yeah. AI is us.
It is like co-evolving. With us.
Just like think about like Neanderthals and I don't know the scientific names of like pre-humans.
I think one of them is like Diluvian or something like that.
Well, just imagine these pre-humans. To us, we are their apocalypse. We are their end. The idea of us and our intelligence and culture and way of life, right? Mm-hmm. They are old news. They are in a cave around a fire. We are in a house with technology.
With electricity,
exactly.
Technology.
But
we have a camera that we can post to the internet and share with everyone around the world.
Exactly, and that's how AI is going to look at us. The way I just described cavemen and pre-humans.
Yeah.
That's how AI is going to look at us. I don't know. Am I tripping?
I don't know.
But that's what it takes, man. People talking about these things, getting trippy. How are we doing on time?
We're at 39 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We 1 or 2 minutes we might cut out.
True.
So, I want to talk about, again, fast food again. Because that's something to me at least, it feels like it, out of nowhere, it got way more intense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like one day I was at McDonald's and it was regular, and then the next day there's suddenly these big screens in the lobby that you can select your meal from and everything. It's basically,
you can do a full order and just plug your card in.
It's a giant
and you got
version
your order.
of the little things that are on your tables at like restaurants.
Like Red Robin's has those.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before, it's not very long before that kind of technology is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Replacing but hey, maybe the health codes and that kind of thing would be better.
But you know what's something interesting to think about too with like humans and the internet is it's almost like because we're all connected to each other in this way, we're almost forming a hive mind. And like, you know, I'm not trying to get like, I'm not going to go political
Us,
with it.
or
'Cause
like
some
you
people
mean
say
like
it
the internet
that.
is a hive mind?
Like us in using the internet.
Okay.
So like we are the collective neurons of the hive mind, and the internet is the pathways of the neurons for us to connect to each other type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, think about, you know, you can order Domino's, just type it into your phone.
Yeah.
Then a person who's at the other side of another screen is like, oh, I have to make this food and deliver it here.
Right.
And that, you know, that's like, it's almost like, you know, we're a human collective mentally through the internet.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I just think that one day it's going to go a step past that.
Yeah.
To where you don't need someone in front of the screen anymore. Because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Artificial intelligence is that person in front of the screen.
Yeah.
And that is when we're going to hit our giant enlightenment. See, what if...
Because it's like...
Here I go again.
Go ahead. You go first.
Here I go again with ancient shit. But you look at all of these... You know, we that timeline podcast we did?
Mm-hmm.
All those megalithic structures that were created, and then out of nowhere it seems like there was like a human civilization like start over.
Yeah.
Right? So what if what I'm saying is how they got to that point of creating these megalithic structures? Why are they spending all this time carving into freaking stone? Why don't they have better things to do? Well, maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have better things to do because they didn't have technology and all the intricacies of this world.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a point where food was good, health was good, economy was good, and people just lived and created.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Because it's interesting to think about, like, that there's a point with humans, like, that they learn to get a tool and dig into the ground for a cave. Because that's like an advancement of the species right there, which is interesting. Just think about like evolution wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's almost like like we're evolving and then technology spawned through us. And now it's evolving alongside us. And then there's possibly going to be a day where the evolutions merge and we become like almost like one being.
I think that's a healthy way to look at it. I think too, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have real fears on this kind of, on like everything we're talking about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't even think a person has to have like schizophrenia or anything like that to be afraid of these things. I think there's normal people out there. I guess normal is a vague word, but just, you know, everyday people out there, I think, that freak out about this kind of thing. And I think it's healthy to talk about this in a light of...
Yeah, because I mean there are going to be hits of like jobs and stuff like that in the transitions of things.
Yeah, that's true. There are going to be negatives, but I think we are going to come out as a better collective in the end.
Yeah.
It's just going to take time. Man, it is crazy to think about what our future people are going to look back thousands of years and see us as, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to be left? You know, what are we going to leave behind? Are they even going to understand this life and this world? And
I mean, because if they lose technology, too, then that's all of our current records is technology.
Yeah, what if someone finds something, like an old computer or something, that's fossilized, and all you can see is a couple keys, right, or something stupid like that. And someone comes up with this giant theory that we like communicated wirelessly and basically the internet, right? And then like no one believes him, and they're like, there's no way they could have communicated like that 3,000 years ago. Are you serious? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what if we lose all that technology and we have to restart and yada yada?
But they say one of the biggest things that will survive though is the Hoover Dam.
I've heard this, yeah, and I think I think we mentioned that in our last podcast too, that it's gonna be stone.
Yeah. Stone that
I've thought about that a lot
ages.
Recently too. Is how cool would it be to create something that you know would survive thousands of years.
That's
that would
crazy.
be awesome.
Just like the pyramids and shit.
Yeah, like the pyramids. And Göbekli Tepe.
One day, Justis is gonna create a monument.
Yeah.
What if it's something small though? What if that's the key, and we go like, put it in the ice somewhere in like Antarctica or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere where we know it can't be touched for thousands of years.
But if we put it in Antarctica, it'll just be like stuck on ice sheets, and once that melts, it could just. Where
Global
we do
warming and what have you.
You gotta find where the landmass underneath.
But it has to be
is.
somewhere, I feel like, above sea level.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
That's a. Wow, we're like legit planning this right now.
On the podcast.
Yeah. Honestly, I think we should bring it to a close here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've hit a lot of the good points, and I don't want to conspiracize too much.
Yeah, we just had some fun going down the rabbit hole.
I guess we will catch you on the flip.
Tweet us.